What's up guys? Today we're going to be installing a flip windshield on this Polaris RZR Pro R. The first thing we're going to do is remove all 8 fasteners, securing the roof to the machine. Once all the hardware is removed from the roof, remove the roof and set it aside. So you're going to want to go ahead and remove all the contents of your packaging from SuperATV. As you can see here, we have our windshield and our seals. Once you've confirmed that the windshield fits the machine, you want to remove the protective film from both sides of your windshield. Once you've got your protective film removed, you want to flip the windshield to where the bracketry is facing up or towards you. So this would be the inside of the windshield. So in your kit, you're going to notice that you have 2 different kinds of seals. You're going to have a straight bulb seal, which will be this one here. And you're also going to have a 90-degree bulb seal, which is this one here. The 90-degree seal needs to go on the upper portion of your flip windshield. The straight will go along the bottom of your flip windshield. So we're going to go ahead and grab our straight and we're going to apply it to the lower portion of our windshield. So we're going to take our straight bulb seal, we're going to start right here on this edge, we're going to run it all the way across to this edge and then cut off our excess. So we're just going to start it right here. Be sure to get it fully seated into the contours of this windshield. Firmly press. We'll just do that all the way across. So once we've got it ran to this point here, we'll go back through, make sure we've got it fully seated in all the contours, which we do. So we'll just go ahead, come to this edge, and cut off our excess. So it should look just like this. So now that we have our straight bulb seal installed on the lower portion of the windshield, we're going to grab our windshield, flip the top towards us. So just rotate it around, just like this. This will be the inside of the machine. So as you can see where the brackets are sticking up, that's what you'll be looking at inside the cab. So you want to make sure that the seal portion of this 90-degree seal is facing towards the inside of the machine. So we're going to take our seal and we're going to start right here at this edge and we're going to run it all the way across to the opposite side on the same edge and then cut off our excess. So once we get to this point right here, we'll just go ahead and cut off our excess. So the next thing we're going to do is grab our handle bracket, and our handle support, as well as 2 Allen-headed screws and 2 nylock nuts that come in the packaging with the handle support. So we're going to grab our handle bracket, and when you're installing the handle bracket, you want to make sure that this portion of the bracket that's raised up with the 2 holes is facing towards the inside. So if you have your windshield oriented just like we do, with the bottom facing you, and this is the inside, you want to make sure that this bracket here, the holes in the bend, is facing towards the middle of the windshield. Once we have that, we'll take our handle, lay it up here, line it up with the holes, and then we're going to take our support bracket, and I like to go ahead and stick my hardware through one of the holes, just like this. Come from the bottom side, slide it through the hole in the windshield. Just go ahead, start your nut. Then we're just going to repeat the same steps on the opposite side of the windshield. Next, we're going to install the catch to the catch bracket. We're just going to take the same Allen-headed screws that we used to install our handles. Just take the hardware, slide it through, put the nut on the back side, just like so. And do the same exact thing to the bottom. And then what I'm going to do, just so this doesn't fall off or rattle around, I'm just going to go ahead and snug this hardware, and then we'll have to loosen it back up whenever we go to adjust it. So then we're just going to repeat the same steps for the opposite side. So now we're going to take our passenger side catch bracket, take the clamps, install them to the cage like this, and then I'm going to rotate it up just so it makes it easier to get our hardware started in our clamps. So we'll just make sure that we have them all started, and then we'll rotate it and get it down into position here. Now we're just going to rotate our clamps to where our catch is towards the inside of the machine, and we'll just kind of pull this flap right here out of the way. You can flip it up or you can trim it off. It's totally up to you. Today we're just going to flip ours up over top the clamp just like so, and then we're just going to leave it like this. There's no need to fully tighten anything just yet. We have quite a bit of adjustments to make. We're just going to repeat the same exact steps for the clamp on the driver's side, and then we'll move on. Next thing we're going to do is grab our clamps out of our kit. They'll look just like this. I'm just going to kind of plop them up here. Just kind of pull them together a little bit. You will have to adjust them, but we're just going to get them in position. So whenever we lay our windshield up here, We can get our hardware started through them to secure our windshield to the cage of the machine. So next we're going to be mounting our windshield to the clamps that we previously installed on the cage. You can do this by yourself, but obviously it's going to be a little bit easier if you have somebody to help you. I like to just kind of lay it up on the machine. Then we're going to flip the upper portion of the windshield up and just kind of slide it into position. And then we'll take our hardware, making sure that the sealing washer is making contact on the windshield. So next we're going to grab our upper clamps with our bracket on it, lift up our windshield, slide it in just like this. And you want to make sure that the two holes in the upper portion of the windshield line up with the upper clamp. We'll go ahead and get our hardware started through here. We'll use the M6 by 30 millimeter screws and just go ahead and get them started, and then we'll go ahead and start all of our hardware for our clamps. So now we're just going to go ahead and start all the hardware in our clamps, securing the windshield to the cage of the machine. Again, we're just starting them. We're not fully tightening anything just yet. Next, we're going to go ahead and tighten the clamp that's on the top of the windshield, securing it to the cage of the machine. We'll go ahead and we'll fully tighten this. Just like that. Same thing on the opposite side. Next, we're going to install our gas strut. In your hardware kit, you're going to notice that you have 4 M8 nylock nuts. Those are going to go on the threads of your strut. So what we're going to do is go ahead and flip our windshield up. Get our nut started on the back side here. We're going to take our strut and attach it to our bracket out here for our handle. Get our nut started, just like so. Then we're going to go to the opposite side and do the same exact thing. Once we have our strut started, we're just going to go ahead and fully tighten the nuts. Now that we have our struts installed, we're going to take our clamps, get them as flat as we can possibly get them, and then we're going to snug the hardware up just to where it doesn't float around loosely. We're not going to fully tighten yet because we will have to make a couple of adjustments to ensure everything is aligned properly. Like I said, we're just going to kind of hand tighten these. I just have the socket. You could use an Allen wrench, whatever you have on hand. You just want to snug them up to where it starts to pinch the clamp down on the cage, just so it doesn't move as easily. And we'll do this for both sides. Once we have them snugged, we're going to take our windshield, put it into the closed position. Find out where it seals the best. So right there, the windshield's lining up perfectly. As you can see, our clamps are parallel with the windshield. And then you also want to look on the inside, and you want to make sure that your clamp for your handle lines up perfectly with the clamp for the catch. So all your bracketry should be symmetrical with each other. They shouldn't be, misaligned. Everything should be lined up perfectly. Everything on this side looks great. So what we're gonna do is fully tighten everything on this side. Then we're gonna go over to the opposite side and check it out as well. Make sure it's aligned. If it is, we'll go ahead and fully tighten it. If it's not, you'll just wanna loosen everything up a little bit and get it to where everything lines up nicely. You want to tighten these clamps until they talk to you a little bit. You'll hear them start squeaking. Once they start to squeak, that means they are good and tight, and it's time to stop tightening. Hear it squeaking, it's good and tight. Okay, so obviously we can't tighten our catch where it's at because our handle's in there, but what we can do is kind of take a wrench and try snugging it up a little bit. Sometimes it will catch depending on how snug you got it initially, but a lot of times you will kind of have to pinch it, hold it in place, release your catch, or release your handle from your catch, just like so. So we'll kind of hold it, lift it out of the way. We know where it needs to be, so we'll take our socket and our wrench and just go ahead and tighten this up completely. So like that, pull it down, make sure it lines up good. Looks good. Pulling the seal up against the machine nicely, which is exactly what we want. We want to line up perfectly, have a good airtight seal here on the bottom, which it does. Everything's lining up, everything's flowing good. Now this side could probably come down a touch. Need to run it out about there. When we look at the alignment of our clamps and our bracketry, we're looking at this bracket here and this bracket here. We want to make sure that they're right in line. We don't want any of them cocked or anything like that, which ours are not. So we're going to go ahead and tighten our clamp. The clamp could rotate just a little bit because, again, we want the faces of these clamps here to be completely flat and aligned with our windshield, just as we did on the opposite side. So kind of a little bit of rotation there. Just like that. That's exactly where we want it. It wasn't much of an adjustment, but enough to where it would make a difference on how well this windshield is going to seal to the machine. Okay, so remember we said that our alignment was good. Bracket straight, so we'll go ahead and tighten our handle bracket. And it doesn't take a ton to tighten these. We kind of need to see where we need to be here. So we need to run our catch all the way out to the bottom, as far down as it'll go. So right there. And again, just get your wrench, your socket, or Allen, whatever you're using. If you look at that, we have a nice seal all the way across. Everything's fully tightened. Just a quick reminder here, on the flap, on this rubber flap, you can slide it up out of the way, or you could trim it off. It's totally up to you. Again, on this machine, we are just gonna leave it. But on yours, you could definitely just take a razor knife and just trim that little edge off. So once you've fully tightened all your hardware, you've got everything adjusted, the windshield's functioning properly, you've reinstalled your roof if you had one, that's all there is to it to install SuperATV's Flip Windshield on this Polaris RZR Pro XP. Be sure to check the description below for a link to pick yours up today, and while you're there, be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.